Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Sanchez. You are with us on the Wise Coffee Chat Show. Our Wise Coffee Chat Show. You can find it on WRMN 1410 and also all the YouTube, Wise Coffee Chat, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Super excited to be here this morning with my guest. She's amazing. I've known her for a while now. Very supportive. She's gone to my retreats. She has an amazing family. I even love her dog. But before I introduce her, who am I? I'm Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Wise Alliance Network, Wise, and also my newest book, Wise Women Empower Women. So that was just earlier in May. Oh my God, last month. It's been a whole month now.
Wow.
Yeah, in May where we actually launched that book. So you guys can find that on Amazon. But that is me. And of course, a mom of three beautiful girls and a real estate investor. So if anyone's looking to sell their property, feel free to let me know. 30 days or less, we can close. And that's who I am. So now I'm going to pass it over to my guest so that she can introduce herself to the listeners.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Jen, for having me here this morning. I'm Michelle Velasquez, and I'm a financial coach. I work with women and couples, and I help them provide clarity. I help them how to better manage their money, and when they feel stuck, help them reach some of their financial goals. I'm also a mom of four. I'm a wife of a contractor, so we also, like yourself, are real estate investors and Airbnb hosts. And I like working with schools and organizations and helping empower their employees as well. So that's a space that I'm definitely growing into.
Yeah, no, you've been doing this. You're amazing. I have stories that we could talk about. But I'm super excited to bring you on because I think the information you share is very empowering. People need to know about their finances. I think most people don't know how to manage their finances. I'm sure you know the statistics and the numbers that you can share. But before we go into the conversation about how you got to where you got to, what type of coffee do you like to drink?
So I definitely to this morning ran a Dunkin', but normally I'm an almond milk kind of girl.
Almond milk. Okay, coffee. Gotcha. So that I just like to know what people like to drink. Yeah. You know, some people are like, I don't like coffee. I just like water in the morning. I'm like, okay, great. So now tell me a little bit. I know that you worked for the government before you got into this sphere or area. So how did you transition? What led you into this?
So yeah, I was a federal officer with Customs and Border Protection in Chicago, and I worked for the Midwest office, which covered 13 states. But while I was there, I was always a trainer. So I was a field training officer. I worked at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Academy in Georgia. And so I've always been a trainer at heart. I love working with people. I love to empower that next generation. So that's still the same. Mm-hmm. However, when I was working with the agency, and here's the book of Latinas in Law Enforcement, but when I was working with the agency was having some issues. And so they were talking about, hey, police had a high suicide rate. And it was a nationwide problem, not just like our agency. And so what can we do to help them? And they realized that it was due to financial wellness. It was due to money, money problems and a high divorce rate when you talk about law enforcement, long hours, long days, infidelity. And so like financial wellness was one of the big things. So they rolled out a financial program at work and they said, hey, we need some volunteers. And I was like, me, because I was in student loan debt. I had about $57,000 left. I went to graduate school at Loyola. And I was like, you know what? I'm struggling with all this money going to my student loans. My husband and I had separate finances, marital problems because of that. And so I was like, definitely, I'm the right candidate for this class. I took the class, and truly, when I left that class, I was like, hey, if I can do this, I felt so empowered. So can you, and so can you, and so can you. And so I started to push for a program for the entire agency. And it was like, no budget, no. And finally, right before I actually was going to leave, my chief was like, hey, Michelle, they approved a nationwide program for us to pilot.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to run it? So I said yes, but I did disclose, hey, my goal is to leave soon. And so he said, okay, help me train 10 people. So I trained 10 facilitators before I left the agency to roll out the program. And I left, excited to know that it wasn't going to crumble. But it was time. I truly felt that God was calling me to step away and to be there more for my kids. I'm a mom of four, and to help my husband.
Wow. So you were very transparent. You let them know, I can't do this anymore. And once you did that, what led you to start? Because you're a financial coach, right? You would call yourself a financial coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the point where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing this for people?
Well, when I was working still for the agency, I was coaching and helping friends, family, sorority sisters, because when I realized, hey, having clarity over your numbers, having a plan, knowing how to better manage your money, like this works. So just by nature, I was like, hey, Jen, this works for you, for you, for you. So I started to get excited. And so I started to help people while I was still working. I started to coach part-time, and it was really like a fun thing more. It was more like I want to help people kind of thing. And then eventually I realized like, oh my God, I can actually start a business doing this. I can do this and get paid doing it. So that's kind of how this led to here.
Yeah, it really is. You get trapped. I was gonna say you get trapped. You start helping one person and then you're like, I really enjoy this. You see the progress. You kind of get the high when you see someone's life change or transform. I don't know. I know for myself. So I'm sure because you probably feel the same way, right? So I just have to share this. This is like, I have to share this story. I remember when you went to one of my retreats. My last retreat maybe was 2 years ago. Remember?
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. You went to one of my retreats, and I remember we were talking, and you mentioned to me, you're like, Jennifer, I couldn't read you. Like you're a professional. You know how to read people. And I remember you told me that, and I was like, because I remember thinking like, okay, she probably reads people. Like so I remember trying to keep like a poker face and like, I don't want her to read me, you know? And then you told me that and I was like, yeah, I did a good job.
Well, you know what? I dealt with criminals and liars for a long time. So I'm really good at reading people. And I know your friends, we have a lot of mutual friends. And they're like, Jenna's amazing. She's awesome. And I'm like, I really can't read her. Sometimes I can't tell. So that's what that sparked, that conversation.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool because then afterwards I was like, damn, she's always reading me. So don't lie, don't say nothing you're not supposed to say, right? Because I've always been an open book, right? I'm naturally I just like, why even lie? I hate. When you lie, then you have to figure out how to cover it up. Right, and I'm a terrible liar. Like once you know when I'm lying. Like I'll do like a twitching eye or something weird. And I'm just joking.
But we talk about guarding our heart, right? Like biblically.
Yes.
And so I'm a believer. Like, okay, if I can't read her, I do this to people. Maybe something happened in our lives where we need to have that extra precaution around friends and women, especially. Right. So I didn't take it to heart. I'm like, okay, maybe she's gone through some stuff that it just takes time to build the friendship and a relationship. And it makes sense, right? You can't just blatantly open yourself to everyone.
Yeah. We got to see what is she about? What
People's
we're talking
intentions.
about. Because people have a lot of messed up intentions, especially being in business. I'm sure you've seen it and I've seen it. It's like not everyone has the best intentions for you.
Correct.
So, I think, when did I meet you? When I first met you, I think it's when you were in this book, the Latinas in Finance book. That's when we started having conversations because I know Imelda. So this is when you started your authorship journey, right?
Correct. I started my authorship journey with this, but I have 4 drafts of books for the Dinero Kids. And I think being a part of this book really motivated me and pushed me to be like, okay, I already went through it. It's kind of like when you buy your first property, you're scared with the first time.
I hate that property.
And and then you're like, okay, I did everything that I shouldn't have done, and I did everything. And so then you just kind of learn. And so that kind of definitely pushed me into the rest of the books.
That's awesome because you have, how many books have been published now?
Now I'm part of 5.
5 books. So that's awesome. And I know you can go through them. Your book is this one, the Latinas in Law Enforcement, correct?
Latinas in Law Enforcement, I published with Esmeralda Samaniego, who I was her intern, believe it or not, when we first started the agency, and then later on worked. She's my comadre. She's the godmother to my son. And so there's a big relationship there, but definitely this one's Latinas in Law Enforcement, because when I left the story, my kids till today, they see a police, they're like, Mom, can you tell them that you're a police? And I'm like, I'm not a police anymore, right? But I wanted to share what women go through in law enforcement and the things that we don't talk about, the times that we also feel that we need to go above and beyond to just teach someone that we are just as good or better than people. And so that was really the legacy of women sharing that story with that one.
I admire women that are in law enforcement or military. I think like women that do that are like badass. Like I just love when I see a woman that's in that industry, because I think if it wasn't for like the life or the path I chose, I think I would have been a cop. I honestly, because where I was at, because I was like in college, I was a lifeguard for the Chicago public pools and beaches, and all of them became cops or EMTs, or they became firemen. So it was kind of like, this is the path you're supposed to take, Jennifer. And I did not take that path. I was like, well, I don't think that path is for me. But a lot of people I knew became that, so I was like, man, that would have been me,
It's a great career, but it's definitely difficult when you have children.
I can imagine. So then now, and you also are an investor, right? Like we bonded even more further when you got into that group that I'm in with Andrew Holmes, right? And you invest in real estate. So how long have you guys been investing?
Wow. So my husband he's been doing it for like 20 years.
It's like they have like it's a family
I've been doing
thing,
it
right?
for like 13 now.
Okay.
So for me, it's been 13 years. I did join the Holmes program about 3 years ago, and that's kind of where we met a little bit more. Phenomenal program. So yeah, we've been doing it for a while now. And my husband kind of grew up with a father who owned real estate. I didn't. So I always say my first coach was definitely my husband.
Oh, that's really cool.
Definitely learned from him. And I was very scared. Until today, I have a very low risk appetite. That's what I like to say. And so definitely when I risk more, it's more to my husband's push and motivation.
Really?
Because for me, I'm big on like very low risk, and it narrows down to your traumas. How did you grow up? Right? I grew up with a dad who almost lost everything. So for me, I know that my risk appetite is very low because of my story.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't think about that, because I'm definitely a risk taker. So I just throw myself into things and figure it out as I go. That's just naturally who I am.
I have this security bubble and the unknown account that if something fails, it's there. I have everything together. And sometimes if, we need it, then it's there.
That makes sense. And I'm sure you guys complement each other, right? Husband and wife.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, he's very high risk. Let's go all in. And I was like, hold on. Did we think about A, B, C, D, and F, and Z?
Which is good.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so you guys have multiple business, because he's a contractor.
Yep.
Right. You guys do your investments. You have the coaching business. Well, am I missing something?
So, so we have the construction, we're Green Building Partners. Then we have the virtual wealth building coaching. Then we have the Airbnb, which is Casa Stays. So that's another part of the business of the 5 Airbnbs that we run.
Yeah, which one of your Airbnbs is beautiful, by the way. And I see Sonia online. Hey, Sonia. One of the house that you have in Brookfield, I saw that one. I thought that was a gorgeous house. I was like, oh, this is and it's an Airbnb, right?
That's an Airbnb.
Yeah, very nice house. So, okay, so now with the books, the coaching, how do you feel? Like, I'm always catching you. You're always busy. You're always like, I'm with the kids. I'm coaching soccer. I'm doing this. Like, how do you manage it all?
I outsource. I'm really big on outsourcing, and I think most people are afraid when you're a business owner to outsource and to hire. And I can tell you that I just brought a girl on my sales team yesterday.
Oh, very nice.
And so I'm big on I don't enjoy sales. I enjoy to show up. I enjoy to just be the best coach that I can be for you. And everything else gets taken care of. So I have somebody that helps me clean the house, and I know as a Latina, at first it was such a mindset. Like, are you not woman enough to clean your own house? Do you need help? I think as a Latina and, a traditional, when we have these moms and in-laws and everybody that puts their 2 cents in, to kind of I'm really big on also creating boundaries in everything that I do.
I can see that.
And I do outsource and I create boundaries, and I'm very direct. My husband and I tag team yesterday. I was like, hey, just so you know, you're doing drop-offs because I'm going with Jen. And so then we just tag team, like, hey, it's your turn, it's my turn. And we have to play it like that.
That's a nice balance. And yes, you're right. In the Hispanic culture, it's like, how could you hire someone to clean your house, right? It's like, how dare you? You're Hispanic. You're supposed to do that, right? Like, this is your pride and joy.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm good on block scheduling, and I know what I value. Like off camera, we talked about, I pretty much take the summer off, and I just work with the existing clients that I already have. So I don't bring new clients on board. And so I block schedule, like block our vacations. Tuesdays, I volunteer every Tuesday at my kids' school, so I know that I don't schedule things on Tuesdays. So like when you have clarity as to what you value, because I'm really big on that,
I love that.
then everything else will fall into place.
Yes, yes. And the priorities will show that, right? So, like, I was just telling some students yesterday, like, you're going to plan your life around what's really important for you. And you're going to schedule time, and your social media is going to reflect that. And, so you could see with you, right, obviously what's important, your kids, your husband, your businesses, and you can see it. That's why you schedule the way you schedule yourself, right? And now in your coaching, so when you're working with women, because you do work with mainly women, correct? Or men and women?
I work mainly with women, but I also coach couples.
You coach couples.
Yeah.
Okay, you coach couples. So it's not, I remember one time we had this conversation, and it's not just finances. You do a little bit of more life coaching too.
I do. I think I always start with a little bit of life coaching first before we get into the finances, because there's so much healing involved, right? There's so much that when we start to think, how do we manage our money? What are the habits that we use, when it comes to money? What triggers us? It really narrows down to our experiences. Sometimes our upbringing, sometimes our relationships, right? And so based on that, it's like we need to identify why we do what we do with our money. And it really starts with healing and awareness. And once we hit that part, then we can move on to the budget. And sometimes people are like, when are we going to talk about the numbers? When are we going to talk about the budget? And I'm like, you're not ready. And sometimes some people will take 3-4 sessions with mindset and trauma, depending on how much you grew up with.
Yeah, because a lot of times people are raised with like a scarcity mindset, right? You have to think like, okay, well, what did they grow up with? What type of family? How did they spend? What did they, right? So I'm sure you go deep, right?
I do.
And I remember we had this conversation when you said that. I was like, that is so smart. That makes a lot of sense because, yeah, money, I feel like, who said this? I don't know if it was you or I heard it somewhere, but it was like, your bank account is a reflection of your mindset. And when I heard that, it was like, phew, like a smack in my face. Like, damn, that is a harsh statement. So if your mindset's positive, if your mindset's healthy, your bank account will reflect that. And ever since then, I've been like, man.
And your values, like, so funny that we talked about that. But last week I checked my daughter's, I have a high yielding savings account for Adalea. She just turned 6, but I'm saving for her quinceañera. And I have about $800 in there, and I was so proud of me. I'm like, I'm only throwing like $50 a month, right?
Yeah.
Nothing, but it starts to add up. Why? Because I know that eventually I value that I want to have a nice quinceañera for my only daughter. So my son, he's 12. I said, Marty, you're going to start driving soon, right?
She's so cute, your daughter, too. She's adorable. She's always dressed up. Every time I see her, she looks like a little doll. So cute.
Yeah. So just, it reflects your values as well.
I love that. So your finances reflect your values. Now, I know in the Hispanic community, a lot of times they're not taught to put things in bank accounts, put things in IRAs or Roth IRAs, right? I mean, like they have like put the money in the colchon, like in the mattress, right? Like hide the money. Like, how do you deal with people like that?
So normally the women that I coach are already like professional, high achieving women. I really don't deal with that. But when I encounter that, something that I talk about is it narrows down to education, right? People do not invest if they're not clear. So if people don't understand what it is to have a high yielding savings account, if people don't understand what it is to have a retirement account, like I remember I was coaching a cleaning and like unofficial coaching her, a cleaning lady that was in my metro when I would go into the city, and a conversation was like, hey, I've been working here for 17 years, and conversation about retirement, and she was like, they take $17 out of my account every month. And so I was like explaining to her what that means. Yes, they're taking it out of your paycheck, but it's also incurring interest, and that later on you're going to have more money. So, and then she was a Spanish speaking lady, didn't speak English. So when she understood that, she was like, oh, that's what that means. Then they'll be more inclined to invest.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So in your coaching, is it very fundamental, or do you go into like IRAs and savings and like more like, the stock market and stuff like that?
So for me as a financial coach, the only thing I really stay out of is the investing lane because I'm not a financial advisor.
Gotcha.
When that occasion comes that I have a woman that is like, hey, I have all my emergency funds, I have a budget, I have a savings, I have my emergency cushion, then it's time to refer her to the advisor, right? But I always tell people, come to me before the financial advisor. Because when you go to the advisor, the intention is that you're going to open up an investment account and you're going to contribute money. So you need to have money. But if you're feeling broke by paycheck to paycheck, then you can't contribute.
Sure.
So let's clear some money. Let's get rid of some of the debt. So then you can free up that money so then you can invest it with the advisor.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's most people, and at least this is what I was taught, and you can chime in and see, they know how to cut down, right? Like you can easily cut down. Like, let me cut this Netflix out, cut this, cut that, cut this, cut that. But they don't know how to make money. You also help people come up with ways of monetizing, making more money, right? Bringing more money into the bank accounts.
Yeah. So this is the way I see it. When we look at your budget, we narrow down. Are you making enough?
To survive.
Right? To survive. Are we making enough? If we're making enough, are we living the lifestyle that we want? Or if we want more, or whatever our goals. Or are you not making enough? And I say, when we're in the red, you have two options. Very simple. Either you need to cut. Okay. If we're in the red, we need to cut, or we need to add. How else can we bring in more money? And at that point, we look at what jobs have you previously had? What do you enjoy to do? What skills do you have? What can we monetize? And then we talk about monetization.
That's good. That's good. In which a lot of people don't know. I think that's a skill. Like making money is a skill. It really is. Like, how do you generate an extra grand a month? How do you generate an extra $2,000 a month? Like, that is probably something that not a lot of people do. So having a coach to kind of guide you with that is really helpful.
Yeah. Like I had a client yesterday I knew she wanted to leave her 9 to 5, but yesterday she's like, just so you know, I have my letter of resignation. And I was like, pause, let's hold on. Let's finish our budget first. Let's look at our numbers. And we saw she needs about $6,500. So I said, before you turn in your letter of resignation, your next assignment for our next session is I want you to come up with a plan on how you're going to make $6,500 a month.
Yeah.
And so, because her partner is not employed right now. So I said, how can you run a home? He doesn't have a job, and now you're going to quit your job. We have a child. Let's really think about this, right? So her next assignment is really going to be to come up with that plan.
Yeah, for sure. I love that we're talking about this because a lot of women don't feel empowered with their finances, right? So I think when women can be more empowered financially, then they'll know how to, they don't have to stay stuck in situations that they don't need to be stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the powerful things about managing your money and your finances. And I'm really excited to keep talking with you and about this topic because it's really important, and I've seen it time and time again where women, they're in situations, they don't want to be in those situations, but they're trying to figure out how to get out of that. Mm-hmm. Right. And having a financial coach is really helpful for that. Now what if and then we could talk about that, we're going to take a quick short break, but we'll talk about like, what are some simple steps that maybe someone can take if they're trying to just get themselves together financially. Right. So, but before we go, where can someone find you if they're interested in learning more about you?
My website, www.vwbcoaching.com.
Perfect. So you guys heard that right now. And then you guys are listening to the Wise Coffee Chat Show on WRMN 1410. If you want to learn more about WRMN 1410, go to WRMN1410.com. And of course, check out Wise Coffee Chat on YouTube and WiseAllianceNetwork.com. So guys, stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. All right, we are back. You are listening to the Wise Coffee Chat Show on WRMN 1410. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Just look up Jennifer Sanchez or Wise Coffee Chat or Wise Jennifer Sanchez. So I'm excited because we have here, if you're just tuning in, we have Michelle Velasquez here. She is a financial financial coach. She's also a real estate investor. Her husband's a contractor. She has five published books. Am I looking at five right now? Okay, 5 published books. So this woman is busy, plus mom, kids, and a dog. And if I remember your dog's name, hold on, what's your dog's name? I remember I met this little puppy. It's a Pokemon. It's a Pokemon character. Oh, Eevee. Eevee. Because I remember when I was gonna do one property, your husband went with your kids to kind of help me remember. Like you had to do I needed a quote on this 3-unit, which thank God I didn't go into that property because that would have been a hot mess for me. I was ready to pull the trigger on this property. It was a 3-unit in Wooddale. Was it Wooddale or Wood? It's somewhere by the Obama Library.
Yeah, but I'm glad you followed your heart and you followed the advice because so many people don't. And I tell people, take a contractor with you so they could look at the foundation, the issues, because that will save you thousands of dollars and a heartache. And I always tell my friends, and I told you that day, I don't expect you to hire my husband, but at least get the estimate so you know what you're going to work with.
And he did. And he gave me the estimate. He came in and he looked at it. And I remember he brought I think it was your son, one of the younger ones, and then he brought the little puppy too. So I was like, oh, the puppy, right? but that 3-unit would have been horrible decision because I think the rehab was gonna be like 140 or 120, and I think your husband was modest on the quote because then I had someone else and they're like 160. I was like, oh my God, like this is just gonna be like more and then more and then more problems. It was a beautiful stone brick 3-unit. What neighborhood was that? I don't even remember. It was by the Obama Library in the South Side, like Cottage Grove area over there. But yeah, no, I'm glad that didn't happen.
But the importance of having clarity and knowing your numbers, right?
Yes.
Like having those numbers, I was talking to a client yesterday and she's interested in real estate and partnering with us. And I told her, you need to have clarity as to what you want. And we want to make sure that we look at those numbers so that you're cash flowing this property and not walking into a problem.
Oh yeah. And then you're not in the negative. And that's one of the things. So, I mean, I know like I just closed the deal yesterday, right? I finally refinanced. I'm done with that deal. I know you've been doing this a lot longer than me, right? But for me, it's still like, oh my God, everything freaks me out. Oh my God, what about this? What about that? You're probably like, whatever, this is another one. Let's figure this out, right? Because you're so used to it. But it sounds like the industry of real estate's always going to have, every property's going to have an issue. Every property's going to have its ups and downs. You're always going to come across some sort of hiccup. So it's really important to have the clarity, the reason why you're doing this. Because I ask myself a lot of time, why did you get into this industry, Jennifer? Like I sit there and question my sanity.
Yesterday our phone rang at like midnight. And Mario's like, it's a 5 whatever code. I'm like, it's an Airbnb. Sure enough, that's what it was. Wow. It was an Airbnb call. The guy couldn't figure out how to open up the lockbox because it's a self-check-in process. And so you ask yourself that, and people tell me all the time, like, I love your bank account, but I probably would hate your life. They tell me, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is that we need to be real when we talk about this. You're getting those calls on the birthdays, on Christmas, on whatever, and you need to have the proper team helping you. And when I talked about outsourcing in the last episode, I have an amazing cleaning crew and handy, and so that really makes it or breaks it when you're dealing with some of these rentals and Airbnbs.
Oh, Lord. My sister, when I just finished it, I was like, I think now I'm going to go into a flip. And my sister's like, do you want to give yourself a break, Jennifer? Like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, they watch me. And sometimes I'm envious. I was just telling this to someone yesterday. Like, I was staying with my sister for a little bit when I was fixing up my house. And I would watch her life, right? And it was like, she's a social worker. She comes home. She's with her partner. They watch TV and movies and eat popcorn. And I'm coming home like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Like I just did like a million things and I got another call or something else I got to do. And I'm just like, man, she lives such an easy life. Like, you know, like,
And that's important that said that, right? Because when we talk about success, it's always like, what does that look like to you? Right? Like right now, I'm going to take the summer off with my kids. I already have 3 planned vacations. I volunteer every Tuesday, right? So when we talk about success, and sometimes you're in the hustle and bustle and temporarily, Jennifer, until you reach that goal where you're like, okay, I am comfortable. This is the lifestyle that I want to live. And now I can sit down and have popcorn.
can I have popcorn? Can I? Because I feel like I never can. Like, I feel like, well, and you know, this year I was very intentional when you're talking about goal setting. And I see Angel. Hey, Angel. I've been very intentional with, like, I like to do everything with intention, and I'm the person that likes, I'm very like you, like 20 goals. What are we going to knock out this year? Boom, 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 right? Like, always doing something on the go. I can't sit still because naturally I don't think my mind even lets me sit still, right? It needs to do something. But this year I was like, no, Jennifer, you need to be intentional with enjoying life. Like, even the fact that I have to say that to myself, right? Because if not, I will get caught in a project. I will start doing a new adventure, you know, but it's like, no, I purposely want to do fun things this year. I purposely want to enjoy life.
And you do have to tell yourself, because many times I have to tell myself, the kids are watching TV and they're like, Mom, can you sit down? And my brain is like at 1,000 things to do that
God.
I feel
Yes.
sitting down is a waste of time. Watching TV to me
Yes,
is a waste of time.
Oh my
But
God.
then like I have a swimming pool. And so the other day I was like, okay, I need to just sit here. I have a beautiful yard. I need to like sit there, and I sat there outside for a little bit and just enjoyed it. But it's very difficult. And so, yeah, as you get busy, you have to be intentional, and it's okay. You got to talk to yourself and say, it's okay to sit down.
Yeah, I'm always constantly telling myself that, like, okay, you're with your kids. Let's be intentional. Like right now, we're just walking in the evenings. Let me go for a walk with my kids to spend a little bit more quality time with them, right? Because sometimes in the bustle as a mom, you're just like, go, go, go. Like, kids, food, snacks. Make sure you're alive. Take you to school. You know, like, you're doing all these things, but you don't realize that it's still not quality with them. It's kind of just going with the flow, right? I don't know how you see that.
Nonstop. Yeah.
Right? And you have 4. You have 4. I have 3. But still, it's like, it's a lot. And then yours are closer in age,
They're 2 years
no?
apart, and they all play a minimum of 2 sports. Yeah. And I coach soccer, and my husband coaches basketball. So because we want to be part of their lives, and I truly enjoy soccer. I'm a soccer mom and I'm a soccer coach. I truly enjoy being in the field with my kids and their friends and just being out there. So that's something that I value.
Did you play soccer?
I did play soccer growing up.
What was your position?
I don't think I was ever that great, but I did play soccer. I was defense.
You like defense? Okay.
I was like the stopper. Like I was the goalie's helper right there. It's not
you were
coming
right
in.
next to the, oh, yeah, I know yeah, so I played soccer too. I was mainly like midfielder, center, or forward. Like, I was always doing the goals. But yeah, defense, I was like, I don't want to do defense. Like, that's a lot. Like, no, like, that's a lot of pressure. I'd rather just take the ball that way.
I was always like, not on my watch.
yeah. No, I was like, try to score. Like, but I love that you played soccer, so it makes sense. I would love to coach soccer. So, like, that would be so much fun for me, especially the little ones.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'd have a ball. Because I used to coach water polo, and water polo similar to soccer, or swimmers. I coach swimmers. So I love coaching. So it makes sense why you're a coach.
Yeah.
Because you're coaching all the time, and people don't understand that this is just a natural lifestyle for you. Like, you're always going to fall into roles that coach. Now, do you find yourself coaching your kids?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like in life? Just
Yeah, all the time. And I, I'm always talking to them. I'm coaching them. I don't think that they like me coaching them.
That's
but
what I was going to ask you. That was the next question.
So yeah, I find myself unintentionally. I could be at Tony's Fresh Market and I'm coaching somebody in front of me. You know, like you unintentionally. I'm just a coach by nature.
By nature. Yeah, my daughter, my 18-year-old, be like, stop talking to me like that. I'm like, talking to you like what? And she's like, she's in that season. She's 18. She's an adult. So like she feels more like, yeah, it's sassy. She could talk and share her opinion. I'm like, why did I train you like this? You're always talking back to me. But, she'll be like, why are you talking to me like that? I'm not one of your clients. I'm like, I can't win. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know when to turn it off. It's hard, right?
It is hard to turn it off, and you have to be intentional. And it's also hard when it comes to relationships, because I remember I struggled a lot with my husband at first.
Oh, really?
Because he would be like, you're not a cop in the house. You need to know when to turn off the lights. Like, you need to know. And I was always strong, aggressive. Like,
direct.
It was just natural.
Yeah.
Natural to me. So it's really hard for me to kind of take a back seat. and not do that. So I have to intentionally be like, okay, let him take lead, and I'll be like, okay, you're the leader of the family. So I have to kind of just like,
How have you been able to maneuver that, right? Because I think you're a believer. I'm a believer. And one of the things is submission, right? We submit to our husbands. I'm not married, but like we submit and, do all those things. How, as such a strong woman who's been in law enforcement, who's direct, who's always coaching, how do you find yourself doing that?
it's a struggle. It's a struggle every day. To say that I'm submissive wife, I'm not. It is very difficult. When I left the 9 to 5, I really had to have confidence in him that he was going to execute and make it happen, and he has, right? To say, hey, I am leaving a 9 to 5. I don't know what this business is what is this going to lead to, but I trust you as my husband and as the leader of this family that you're going to take care of this family. So he has done an amazing job at that. Now, for me to be submissive and say, yes, honey, to everything, that's a lie. It's very difficult for me. Now, I do believe in your love language.
Okay.
I am not an acts of service kind of girl.
Okay.
I am a touch and an affection person. My husband is an acts of service. So it's been really difficult when, for me, something important to him is breakfast and coffee.
Okay.
For him, that act of service means the world.
That makes him,
To serve
his day.
him.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, ugh, your coffee, your breakfast. It's not, I don't enjoy it, but I do it because it's his love language. And so when we're talking about relationships, it's important to understand your love language. And when you
Absolutely.
love that person,
Absolutely.
you're serving them and you're loving them in theirs, even though it's not easy.
Absolutely. And I think that was, I coach out of the love languages, Gary Chapman. I love that book. Right. And I think sometimes when I would even tell, like I would look at my girls and I kind of, even when they were real little, and I'm sure you've done this, you identify their love language even before they even know what their love language is. Because like one of them would be like, Mom, can you sit next to me? Like
cuddle.
just be next to me. I don't have to touch her. She just wanted me there.
Right.
Right. And I knew, I was like, okay, she just likes to spend time with me, right? But then I had another daughter that was always like touchy, feely, huggy, jumpy. I'm like, oh, this girl is like, loves touch and loves affection, right? So that's kind of how I identified. And you're right, it's hard because sometimes it's like, well, what is my love language? I got to serve this person in their love language, right? And then when you're hurt, I heard like I heard this, and I don't know, and when you're hurt with someone, you actually do the opposite. You're no longer doing the love language of what that person wants. You want to do the contrary, right? Without even realizing it, right? Because you're hurt. So I love the fact that you're teaching love languages, and yeah,
And it has
hard.
a lot to do when I'm coaching couples. And so, because they'll be like, well, we're not on the same page. And, he's a spender, she's a spender, whatever. And then I have to pause and I have to be like, hey, do you know your love language? Because he's saying the exact same thing that you're saying and just in a different way. And so I realize that when I coach couples, that is something that they don't realize is that they have to love and their spouse's love language. And that has made a tremendous effect on marriages.
yeah. Oh, I love, yeah, it does. I could see and it's, I guess it's the intention, right? Being intentional of my partner needs this. Let me do this for them, right? And if you know it's time or a touch or whatever, then it's like, oh, I gotta be touchy-feely now, right?
But you also have, like, when you have family around, and I'll just give you an example. My sisters will be like, I never thought that I would see you serving anybody because that's not your style, right? And so I always tell my one sister who I'm always with, I was like, look, if for my husband, it just fills his cup to have breakfast and coffee and he doesn't bother me and leaves me alone with everything else, I will happily serve breakfast and coffee every morning,
Hey,
right? If that
that's good.
overfills his cup, and that's the biggest challenge and
Makes
struggle
them
I
feel
have,
happy, yeah.
let's do it all day long, right? So I think sometimes when we talk about relationships and money, we have to really be cautious on who's around us. And sometimes we might not be raising our families the way we were raised. I was raised with a super spender family. So sometimes, like I know with my mom, she would be like, I didn't raise you that way. She would see it as cheap, but I was like, no, Mom, I'm budgeting. I have goals. This is why I have this. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes we go on the contrary, and our families, people that are around us, start to be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, especially if they're used to something. But like you said, if there's a goal, if there's a vision, if there's a purpose, you know why you're doing this. You know why you're choosing the long suffering, right? It was funny because I was just talking to another coach and she was like, I was complaining about this refinance, right? And she was like, part of life is to suffer, and you need to choose how you're going to suffer. Are you going to suffer well? And I guess it's biblical, and it's like, right, the long suffering part, like love is long suffering, or I forgot what scripture she used, but I was like, you're right, like we're gonna have to suffer. How are we gonna choose? So even though it might be painful in a sense, not like excruciating, but like, oh, this takes a little bit more effort out of me to do, it's like I'm choosing this.
And then you also will know how to appreciate the aftermath.
Yeah, and I think that once someone feels love and their cup is full, then they're going to naturally want to love you.
It overspills.
Yeah, they're going to want to give you whatever you need, right? So
that's when everything gets down around my house. When that cup is filled, everything that I requested all year happens.
That's good. That's good. I love that you guys figured it out. Because how long have you been married now?
Oh, my God. We've been married for like 12 years.
Oh, that's amazing. Good. You guys passed the 7-year itch.
Yeah.
But they say that there's multiple 7-year itches, so I don't know. We'll see when I hit my second marriage how that works. But so I know that you have this book, spending for Cheeky's birthday surprise. Yeah. What inspired this book? What inspired you to make this book for the kids?
So I never thought or dreamed of doing anything for kids with money, but as I was coaching people and couples, I realized that everything stemmed from my childhood.
Okay.
On how the traumas and how we view money and our patterns. And so I was like, why not start with the kids? And so I was very intentional with creating, and book 2 should be coming in the fall, but I was very intentional with, because I serve Latino community, I wanted it to be a bilingual book where the stories could be read in Spanish and English. And I created a brand called the Dinero Kids. And I use my children for legacy purposes and just, but I was very intentional where, hey, why not introduce money concepts to children now? Yeah. And this book talks about spending and saving.
Yeah.
And so, because like all of my kids have a debit card except Cheeky's, my youngest, Cheeky's. She just turned 6, so now we're going to take her to the bank to open up her account. So they have their high-yielding savings accounts, and they have a checking account that they're allowed to spend. Now, I have a super spender son called Isan, that for her birthday, he probably spent like $80, $100 on his sister. Aww. Now, I love that because I want them to learn to treat us and take care of us, right? Like as a mom, I'm like, oh, you're going to buy me an ice cream? Because when I'm 20 years later and he's either too cheap to buy me a burger, or he knows like this, I'm used to this, right? I'm used to spending on mom and my sisters. But 2, if they overspend, we don't bail them out. Because I'll be like, Isan, that's $80. Do you know how hard it is to build $80 at 10 years old? Are you sure?
At $5 a week.
And I'm going to tell you what he did last week, because he's my super spender child. We were at Walmart, and he decided that he was going to run to the Pokemon section and hide from me because he have a debit card and he was going to self-check out.
Oh.
Okay. I saw it and I said, okay. And my son Marty's like, Mom, that box is like $60. And I was like, really?
That's good.
And I said, it's okay. He's going to learn where he's not going to have no money. Well, he self-checks out the box. Yeah. 5 minutes later, he has buyer's remorse. And he's like, Mom, do you think I can take this back? And I was like, go to customer service. You're in Walmart. So there's 20 people in front of him. So now he had to stand in line for 20 people. Yeah. And I let him. He gets to the front and the customer service says, you cannot return it. And so I was like, why? And they're like, Pokemon are all sales final. So he learned 2 hard lessons that day. Ooh. That I'm so happy that he learned them at the age of 10. The first one is how to read signs, because there was labels everywhere in that little section that said all Pokemon sales final, right? And the second lesson that he learned was that sometimes you can't return things, even when you have the receipt.
I love the fact that you taught him that.
And so
so good.
So when you teach your kids about money, don't bail them out.
No.
Let them learn, because I rather them learn at 5, 10 years old, that when they're in college and then they're crying to you to bail them out of stuff.
Yeah. No, and I love that you're giving this example, because I have the green light cards for my daughters. Do you know the green light? No. So it allows them to, like, you give them their allowance and money goes to savings, to spending, and to investing, and even philanthropy.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool. So my 12-year-old, we've been working at this for a while, and she's like, Mommy, how much do I have? And I was like, you have this much in savings, you have this much, you can spend this much. She's like, oh, wow. And she's frugal. She's like, nah, we're saving this. Yeah. She ain't touching it. She has no desire to touch it, right? The 18-year-old though, the moment I said, here you go. Like, now you're an adult. You
Yeah.
can, no, spending. I'm like, are you sure you want to keep doing this? Like, you need to put money in the savings. I'm like, all right. And now she's like, oh, I don't have money. And I'm like, tough kick rocks. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, we worked really hard for your money.
Right.
And you spent it. Now go earn it. The good thing that I know that she picked up is she knows how to make money.
Right.
She's a lash tech. So she's
Oh,
like,
nice.
she's like, I will make money. I will get some more clients. That's one thing at least she learned from me, like how to the hustle and the bustle, right?
Nice.
Even though my mom's like, what are you teaching them? You're only teaching them to make money and always work. You're not teaching them to be at home. I'm like, I don't know. I guess maybe that's why.
Yeah.
That's who I am. Maybe I need to work on that.
But right now, as summer approaches, that's something that, I recommend your audience to, like, hey, if you have kids, I told my 12-year-old Marty, you have an option. You can go work with Papi, help me work, or you can play with your friends. But pretty soon you're going to be driving a car, right? Do you want to be the person driving the car, or do you want to be the person that's getting driven everywhere and you have no options and you're the victim of somebody else?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And these are all good things to start doing with them young, right? But you're right. Earlier when we were on break, you said they watch us. They're learning everything from us, how we spend. Like, now that I'm listening to you, like, I am naturally a frugal person. Like, I like to be frugal. I like to, because my parents were always like, no, we're not going to eat out. We're going to eat at home. I don't know if your parents were ever, you said your parents were spenders, right?
I grew up with super spenders. So for me, it's the other way around.
No, my parents were like, no, we're going to go eat that. No, like, this is the best we're going to get. We're going to go eat out only on occasions, right? Like, we weren't really big on going out. But I remember even on the airplane, I remember like going on a flight and I couldn't order off the menu. So the moment I was an adult and I was on the plane by myself, I was like, I'm ordering whatever I want off this menu because my mom never let me order on this menu, you know?
Which tends to happen. And I know you say it jokingly, but I see that with clients.
Yeah.
The reason that some people in our generation are overspenders is exactly that. We were restricted so much that now that we have money, it's like, well, I can afford the car. I can afford the condo. I can afford this. Why not? Right. And then it's like, hey, I don't have money.
Yeah.
And your parents end up having more money than you because they're the frugal ones. They're the ones that save. They're the ones that bought investment
Saving all their
properties.
life, yeah.
And our generation did it.
Yeah. So I love this conversation. Now remind the audience, if they want to look for you or learn more about you, where can they go?
So you can go to my website, but I will have a women's 8-week cohort coming up in October. And that's about 10 women that we go through a journey together. We're going to be going through my 2 books, 9 Steps to Achieve a Millionaire Mindset, because I like to work on people's mindset first. And then we're going to go through Clarity is Power, Know Your Numbers, and Own Your Own Power.
That's amazing.
And this is just like a workbook journal that you can do on your own, even if you don't join the core. But right now we're looking for 10 women that are serious about getting clarity, awareness, and intentional with their money.
I love that. So what is the website again?
www.vwbcoaching.com.
I love that. So you guys heard it from her directly. Make sure you guys check her out if you're interested. And of course, don't forget Wise Women Empower Women. This book is on Amazon. Make sure you reach out, buy, support, read the stories of the ladies. And I'm super excited just because, you were here and you shared your knowledge with all the listeners. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then if you guys want to learn more about WRMN, go to WRMN1410.com or go to WiseAllianceNetwork.com and learn more about me. But thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you for the team, WRMN team, and my team here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. Have a great rest of your week.